Hello again and welcome back to another one. And today we have a couple of topics to cover, from one that sparked backlash on the web linked to Interscope Records after new details emerged from some sources about Eminem's Houdini that wasn't treated as a priority by the label until it began to smash records on digital sales platforms and streaming platforms. And we got to find out about this under radio exec Damisa's post and the exchange he had with Eminem associate Fred Reck that we covered a few days ago, and we'll expand on this in a bit as this has caused a bit of commotion on social media. And who knows for sure, perhaps this explains why it has been radio silence from Eminem for some time now since Houdini released. And speaking on Fred Reck, we gotta find out that Detroit rapper Lazarus ended up getting a beat that was initially meant for Eminem's The Death of Slim Shady album, and we'll expand on this later. And speaking on radio exec Damisa, he also landed in hot water a few hours ago for some comments he made about breaking out Jay-Z at radio in a segment where he also explained how Jay-Z needed features to break out on radio and why he is yet to get a solo #1 hit. But Jay-Z fans came for his neck for stating this, and he had to drop a response video to the fans who were triggered by his take on Jay-Z's career. And we'll get to this at the latter part of the video, as Jay-Z isn't the only rapper he said he broke out so far. As if you were with us a few days ago, he also claimed he came up with the idea to break out Eminem on radio before My Name Is.
I get a call from Dre saying, "You need to come to the house." I'm like, "Oh no, you signed the white boy?" And he goes, "How do I break the white kid?"
And as usual, save your thoughts for the comment section later. And today we'll be starting with Kendrick Lamar's upcoming video for Not Like Us. And we got to hear from Mustard on Big Boy TV, who expanded on how the plans for the video came about and also how it is kind of inspired by California Love by Pac and Dre. Check out some snippets.
We talked about that before the pop out and all that stuff. He's like, "Man, we should do a video." And I didn't think we was gonna still do it. I was just like, all right, you know, like when I heard we was doing it, I was just like, oh, this is gonna be crazy. Like,
oh man.
And we started really early, and then we went to Tams, and by the time we came out of Tams, it was like the streets was packed. I had never seen nothing like that.
Dude, yeah, that's like some Dre Tupac takeover.
Yeah, that's what we was talking about in the car. I was like, man, this felt like how it felt on California Love. He was like, I seen that video. Kendrick was like, I seen
he said
that
he went
video.
to the swap meet, huh?
Yeah, well, he was like, I was on my dad's shoulders, and I was like, really? He was like, yeah, and then we seen a little boy the same way, and I was like, that's the same thing.
On his dad's shoulders.
The same thing. I was like, wow, it's crazy.
And if you were with us for the last video, you remember that Joe Budden attempted to take credit for setting up Drake's downfall when he claimed he passed the baton to Push and Push passed it to Kendrick. Well, just so you know, Joe Budden is still getting cooked as we speak, as posts like these continue to blow up on social media. The fact Joe Budden thinks we heard any of his diss records is funny as hell, laughing emojis, like no one outside of his loyalists cared about the diss songs, not even hip-hop heads, rappers or vets. But Push, on the other hand, put a stain on Drake's career, and Kendrick Lamar, quote, finished him off and is looking to hang it up like an art piece of history with the Not Like Us music video coming soon. And even parrots are clowning the owl right now, as this went viral a few hours ago, a parrot vibing to Euphoria.
Holy shit! Holy shit!
Damn. And moving on, a few days ago we covered the exchange between Damisa and Fred Reck over how Houdini should have been an easy #1 in the United States if only it had decent radio play, and Fred Reck shut it down by claiming Eminem doesn't care about going #1. However, it looks like the label didn't even try until they saw the reception, and then they tried to play catch up. And we got to find out about this thanks to an exchange between Damisa and some radio programmers on IG that made its way to Reddit. It goes, Radio programmer says Eminem's Houdini wasn't a priority at Interscope because they didn't believe in it. They only sent it to radio 4 days after it gained traction on DSPs, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, and check it out from the radio guy. Funny story, label did not set the song up at all. Zero. It just hit the inbox out of nowhere, not early, after release. I rushed to get in the system and got the radio premiere popping with Big Read Radio in my opinion. Label dropped the ball. They obviously had no idea what they were working with. 4 days after release, M was now magically a priority because of the traction it was getting on YouTube and DSPs. And this has sparked confusion, as on one end, some are blaming Eminem's team. What probably was the case is that M's team didn't tell the label when they were dropping the song. But since Eminem and Paul aren't in charge of Interscope, some have hit back with, LOL, why is it always Paul or Eminem's fault? They are stating that it was the label here. And to be fair, Houdini after its release week has started to gain traction on US radio, but it is too little too late as this was needed on the first week for that #1 debut. However, some on Twitter shut down the stories from the radio guys. That story is not real. Interscope co-founder Jimmy Iovine was just in Houdini music video. This is a made-up story from some random guy on Reddit that is upset about radio reach, which got this response. Dameza ain't just some random guy though at all. He is legit. He helped put Eminem on the map, plus has a lot of connections. Well, he told Bootleg Kev that he was directly responsible for the plan they had with Eminem's My Name Is that broke out Eminem on radio, so there's that. And before we get to some more drama, this time centered on Jay-Z, God Sent Me by Detroit rapper Lazarus dropped a few days ago, and it was produced by Fred Wreck, and we got to find out that the beat was originally meant for Eminem's upcoming album. As Lazarus revealed, essentially he got lucky. And from the Danza Project podcast, check out some snippets.
Fred Wreck was working on Eminem's album, which is about to come out, and so he heard Scalpel. It was on Tech Nine's page, and he was like, he liked that, and then we started talking. He's like, yo, you in Detroit? And then I pulled up to Detroit. I was there, and then he was working on M's album. He comes through, and he just starts throwing me all these beats. He's like, yo, we got to work on this. He's playing me beats, and then this particular beat for God, which wasn't called God Sent Me at the time, but that I heard that beat instantly. I'm like, yo, what's that? I'm like, it just kind of like it reminded me of like the golden era, like the Aftermath golden era sound. Like it just 50. Hit me right, like right then and there. I'm like, yo, what about this? And he's like, yo, this is supposed to go to M's album, but I think he's going with some other beats on his project. So you want this one? I'm like, hell yeah, I want this one. So yeah. So I'm like, I got lucky. I got that one.
So check it out if you haven't. And this pretty much confirms a Fred Wreck beat on Eminem's next album. And moving on, radio exec Dameza was recently on the Road podcast where he spoke about breaking out Jay-Z on radio. And boy, users on the web came for his neck. But first, check out the snippet that started the drama.
Jay-Z had this dry spell, which was Sunshine, Wishing on a Star.
Which was the second album.
So when Can I Get It came along, it saved Jay, which got him his budget for Hard Knock Life because they were dropping him from Def Jam at that point.
So you broke that on the West Coast.
I had
on Power
and
106.
32 stations in the middle, which gave me hot.
That's so crazy because Jay-Z did say I broke in the West Coast before in the East Coast.
Well, and here's the funny thing. So Hard Knock Life comes out and it's a novelty record. Hot 97 says we're getting off this.
But what was the reasoning? What do you mean by
bad
novelty?
Research. It's bad research and everybody said it's corny. You know, with the anything. So I said, wait, we're getting research in Los Angeles, though. I mean, and we're 2 weeks ahead of everybody. So if they give it 2 more weeks across the country, I guarantee you it'll pop.
And that changed everything.
And then it popped. And then I saw that and I said, well, wait a minute. Let's put Jay-Z and Mariah Carey together and see what happens. And that was Heartbreaker, which gave Jay-Z his first #1 and brought him into countries that he
Wait, so
never. To this day, I'm like, Jay, like, yeah, you helped, buddy. Yeah, you. You know what I mean? Like, helped? Drug? What the you talking about?
Yeah.
And he's a great businessman, but I mean, how many hits has he had just as Jay-Z? Crazy in Love, Empire State of Mind, Heartbreaker. He's a perfect synergy marketer.
Crazy.
That
You got a right to be pissed, I guess, huh? Hey, look at his face.
And boy, he's been getting cooked, but I believe his comments were exclusively about the radio and not the quality of the music. And this is the same that applied when he got into that exchange with Frederick about Eminem's Houdini radio play. And now some have even challenged him like they do to Dame Dash. So you want credit for Jay-Z being Jay-Z because you claimed you made him. Go make another one then. And even Royce's bro, Kid Vicious, pretty much called him a culture vulture in response to the clip. What is this? The Culture Vulture podcast thinking emoji. And this got to the point that he had to drop a response video over the backlash. Check it out.
You know, I'm here to empower artists, not break them down. And I've been reading through the comments of the Jay-Z Road podcast interview, and it's getting a little crazy. Look, Jay-Z is responsible for Jay-Z's success. It is the synergy that was created with all of us. If anybody broke Jay-Z to a mainstream audience, it was Mariah Carey. Not to mention the promo staff at Def Jam at the time, Bobby Dash, Al Branch, Marty Shulman. They all worked very hard to get Jay-Z to the place that he is today. And Jay-Z is one of the most successful rappers of all time. Not just that, but he's a billionaire 2 times over. Look, also about the distribution deal. At one point, Kevin Liles called me and said, look, you don't have to play Jay-Z anymore. I need that slot for DMX. That's what happened. He said they weren't going to fund the distribution deal any further after that. That's all I was saying, is remembering what happened when it happened. And sometimes my sarcasm gets a little crazy, but don't take it personal. I'm not taking credit for Jay-Z. I'm just saying that these were the doors that were open. I mean, I also introduced him to Snoop Dogg and said Snoop Dogg the Hot 97 Summer Jam. I introduced him to Eminem. I did as much as I possibly could to help this brand grow because I believed in Jay-Z. Do you know what I mean? I believed in Jay Brown. And, you know, come on. Sarcasm, don't take it too seriously. If anybody broke Jay-Z to a mainstream audience, it was Mariah Carey.
Run.
But this wasn't enough to stop the roasting session that was going on. Bro, relax. You ain't that important. Laughing emoji. However, some came to his aid with, you gotta remember, a lot of people arguing with you didn't listen or know Jay-Z music in 95, 96, 97 cause Sunshine video almost got him out of here. So I believe your part you had to do with his outbreak. And I believe the outrage is because people forget that he's talking about radio and not the quality of the music. US radio is a different ball game. Even Eminem has been getting a beatdown for over a decade in that medium. And to be fair, even on Spotify right now, you can take a look at Jay-Z's top 10 most popular songs at the moment. And how many solo songs do you see on that list? And take a look at what started this, a list of his Billboard #1s so far. And how many solo songs do you see on the list? But over to you guys, share your thoughts below. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one.